Imagine during your childhood, at the age of 6, your father died due to these white oppressors wanting all your land. Not only that, but because of them, your mother abandoned you and left you to be raised by your siblings. This was the beginning of Tecumseh, a legend in Native American history and even the Americans. Tecumseh was raised by his older brother and sister, installing morality, honesty, family values, and the true strength of a warrior. A true leader, however, shows empathy. After seeing the Americans get tortured by his own kind, he disagreed with their actions. For he was a proud Shawnee, and in just a few years, he displayed traits of greatness. He had courage, intelligence, and was already a strong warrior by the age of 8. And the year is now 1794. Conflict was happening soon. It starts off with natives building huge momentum and getting a major win. However, under veteran American leadership by General Anthony Wayne, defeat for the natives was certain. Under the Battle of Fallen Timber, American troops broke through the Indian lines, and along with that, promised support from the British vanished due to their own wars. In the end, the Treaty of Greenville, 1795 was signed, losing large amounts of Northwest territory, which only fueled Tecumseh's desire to form a resistance. Then, in the year 1809, the Treaty of Fort Wayne was signed under a few Native American leaders, resulting in the loss of over 2.5 million acres of land. However, they had been promised goods for around $7,000 and annuity of $1,250. The exchange, however, still favored the Americans. The leaders were merely puppets in the total scheme of taking all of their land. However, Tecumseh and Tenskwatawa formed a movement that opposed the treaties, stating that land belonged to all of them and the chiefs had no right to sell the land. Therefore, they established Prophet Sound at Tippecanoe, going directly against the treaty and allowing no settlers to settle the land for over 2 years. Tecumseh had a vision. However, he had to unite others to his cause. When in the year 1810, part of his great speech, he stated, "Once a happy race, since made miserable by the white people, who are never content but always encroaching. In order to stop this evil is for all the red men to unite in claiming a common and equal right in the land, as it was at first and should be yet, for it never was divided, but belongs to all for the use of each." It wasn't just a simple speech on fighting for their freedom, but the concept of race had spread to them also. Prejudice toward natives, showing peace would never happen. However, not long after that, as Tecumseh went to gather more support in the South, Governor of Indian Territory William Henry Harrison, who had also influenced the Treaty of Fort Wayne, led an attack against them. The attack was known as the Battle of Tippecanoe, where they successfully burned out Prophet Sound, weakening the Confederacy greatly. In the end, it resulted in the final battle in 1813, where British and Native Americans combined forces against the Americans. The battle took place on the north side of the River Thames, a swampy area. However, Harrison had a brilliant strategy. He decided to attack the British first, knowing they would retreat, and hopefully the Native Americans would retreat also. What happened instead was the Native Americans decided to stay under the strong leadership of Tecumseh and kept fighting. However, this fatal decision costed him everything, as he was shot and killed during the ongoing conflict. It resulted in the whole Confederacy being dismantled. Without Tecumseh, no one could continue the movement. Though Tecumseh passed around the age of 40, he passed away with aura and left his name remembered in history, with recounts of Harrison describing him as one of those uncommon geniuses who spring up occasionally to produce revolutions and overturn the established order of things. His ideas were proper and he was right as decades would go on and the Native Americans would continue to lose more of their land and be pushed out even further. He had good intentions, however, the chiefs during his time weren't willing to fight against the oppressors, resulting in not enough numbers to turn the tide and chance of winning.